Well, he's talking about you and I and people like us. And quite frankly, Alex, we've talked about the success that we've had, and we've got the conspiracy running all over the place trying to find out what to do next because we've got them on the run. And that probably prompted some of these recent statements as well. We've been very, very effective. And what will they try to do? We don't know yet. But I don't know that the people are going to sit still for it.
Well, Bob, there's something psychological going on here because I see it over and over again. He says there's no such thing as a global government. If you say that, you'll be arrested. When it's all over the news, they're establishing world governments. So he knows it's all going on. He's pushing it. But he's just saying, look, you don't see anything like the mafia says, or you're going to sleep with the fishes. He's saying, you do what we say. And he picks something like the conspiracy theory that sunlight's good for you to just make it asininely broad.
That's right. So they can do anything they want.
But I think there is some megalomania and mental illness here, though. I mean, to have them openly praising Mao, openly praising arresting us. I mean, these guys really must think they're invincible. But then he goes on to admit they're in trouble. I guess it's like cockroaches when you poison your house, and before they die, they all start fornicating. We'll be right back with Bob Chapman. It's clear that the establishment wanted to use the backlash against Bush, who was only carrying out the globalist policy, to bring in their new puppet, to build him up as a messianic leader, Obama. He has now fallen faster than any president ever in the approval rating. Mainstream news says about 40. A lot of the other polls show 35, as Bob Chapman mentioned. So they really wanted to come in with a type of red terror with the banks using their communists, as they always do, to loot and rob everybody during the crisis they created. But now, clearly, they're freaked out. Clearly on every front. They may not even pass their health care now. That's in deep trouble. The Democrats are in a huge exodus. They know it's political suicide, but the banks are demanding this new tax. The liberals have found out it's all a robbery. We are routing them right now. So, yeah, they are blustering, saying, okay, we're going to take your guns, we're going to arrest you. But this is what he was saying in white papers for the White House. I don't even know if it was meant for public, but it's in mainstream news that they're all saying this. I see the biggest problem, Bob, is they brought in all these illegal aliens as their clients in Europe and the U.S. to pull the lever to vote for this. And so they think they're going to win still long term. What do? Educate the populations they brought in?
No, I don't think that's possible. Most of them are people who don't have beyond sixth grade educations. And I don't think that's easily doable. I think when they would get into a difficult economic situation, that you might be able to appeal to them just on a common sense basis. But that's a hard thing to do. We've got to keep on trying to get at the mainstream American who sees things going on and doesn't have an explanation, and we've got the explanation for them, which is reasonable and truthful. And, they're stalling for time. The longer they stall, the better it is for us, because it gives us the opportunity to try to accomplish what we've been accomplishing. I think, I hate to hear what he had to say, but I'm glad to hear we're pushing them right to the edge. They are running around in circles.
But again, they now admit, mainstream news, I printed several articles today, that he's the guy tapped, that's why they moved him into the White House, to be the next Supreme Court justice when Ginsburg leaves. I mean, how could you have someone for Supreme Court who openly says ban free speech? He actually says, let me read quotes, government might ban conspiracy theories. That's a quote. Government might impose some kind of tax, financial or otherwise, on those who disseminate such theories. Then he lists them as global warming is a deliberate fraud, illegal, as saying there's a plan to get our guns, while he separately gives speeches saying they are going to ban them.
Desperate people do desperate things. It's a counterattack, and it's not going to work unless they try to implement them, and then they'll have to deal with the public. The longer it takes them to implement them, the better it is for us because we get more time to educate people.
Bob,
it has been an educational process.
Bob, you've been fighting this for 45 years. I've been fighting it for 16 years, 14 plus on air. But just as a red-blooded human who wants freedom, when I see people openly praising Mao and saying they're going to take my guns and saying they're going to ban my free speech, I mean, I literally have been in a super aggressive mood the last day and a half, hopping around the office, barely controlling myself, punching holes in walls. I'm not even really angry. I'm just in absolute war mode where I mean, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, I know a threat of a bunch of dirty scum openly calling for criminal COINTELPRO to infiltrate my office and set me up and send me to prison. I mean, this little piece of crap needs to be arrested, not in the White House running all federal laws.
Well, you're right, but how do we bring that about?
I just can't look at his picture. I just can't look. I mean,
we can try to get the right people in Congress. Maybe they'll stop it. It's their only legal avenue. I mean, they don't care whether they break the law. They make the law. They don't care about the Constitution. They do what they feel like doing, and that's what you've said throughout the program is a perfect example of that. And so we're going to have to try to work through the system, which we are and have been. And if it doesn't work, well, then we'll have to use something else.
What is the bully psychology of flaunting that they're in charge and they're going to take our rights and openly throwing it out and announcing it and then always denying it separately? What is the point of that?
Well, it's psychopathic is what it is. Because they just don't care.
Land of the free, home of the brave, with a bunch of people saying they're communists who work for offshore banks, robbing everything, saying we're bad because we want free speech in the Second Amendment. And he's going to be our next Supreme Court justice, probably, unless we stop him. Bob, let's continue. You want to play some video clips, audio clips of him, and then get into some other issues with Bob Chapman. I'm Alex Jones.